Bring it up.
Oh, I got another one. This is my survival guide. Pragmatic. Just simple solutions for life, simple solutions for conversations that you might have, simple solutions for how you can start a business, and simple solutions for your health.
Okay.
Again, this is an image of necklacing. If you don't know what necklacing is, Google it, look it up. If you don't, look at the image. It's cute. Enjoy it. Take it with you. Just leave it there. I took some time out to go into a little bit more of a magazine format, although these are journals, not magazines, in that they're content that should last the ages. It shouldn't be something that you have to like, oh, I need to update, right? Like the next thing that we roll out won't be a double or a redo of this. This won't be Ma'at 2.0 that you get next time.
Gotcha.
Next time you get something that'll be a lot more locked into modern culture, but it'll still tie into some eternal principles, and still tie in our popular culture.
Okay.
So what I did is that I basically just wrote a declaration to let you folks know where we're at.
Okay.
Again, practical, straightforward, honest conversation here. This one here, I got naked for. Again, I got naked for this. That's important. I don't know why that's important. I just thought I'd say it.
Okay.
It's probably not important. All right. But this is a health-related article, and it also kind of tells you why I wrote Survival Guide, or why we put together Survival Guide. Because as I was taking a shower one day, the water dripped right beneath my chest, right where my heartbeat is. And because I was just in one of those reflective moments, it's like, shit. If that thing stops beating, it's over. Game over. It don't matter what type of activism, don't matter what I study, don't matter what I learn.
That's it.
It's it. It's over. If this heartbeat stops. And so I had to take a moment to say, the hell with all of the other things that we're talking about. If we ain't talking about health, we not getting it. It ain't nothing else. And that's why I'm kind of here at the Minority Health Coalition.
Okay.
Because if you don't get that, you don't get it.
Start with life.
Yeah, life is the key thing that you're supposed to be using as a method to get your information to the next step.
Right.
So if you're dying before you're actually finishing your job or your duty or whatever your calling is, then you really not fulfilling, and you're missing out on a key part of this. So
And we're missing out.
the whole world's missing out. The whole world's missing out. This one is Elephant Illusion, written by Despo, aka Ronaldo E. Poindexter. It was such a profound piece. I wanted to do a very nice spread in order to kind of signify. What he did is that he told us about how we posture as slaves without having any threat of oppression. Instead, we have internalized the oppression, just like how a domesticated elephant does. Great conversation. If you know anything about how elephants are domesticated through this rope, then you probably already know a piece of it, but now you have to see how he ties that to our culture and our experience. Brother is dope. He's always a profound thinker. He's always present for that type of stuff. This is another 3-part series called Sword of Domination. And it's basically an inquiry as to whether or not black folks can be racist. And so we've got here, some images of what the Egyptians did in order to identify who and what they were in comparison and be able to let you know. This is a depiction of a Nubian. This is a depiction of an Egyptian or a deity. I know that you see like the brown skin here and the dark skin here, but what you have to understand is twofold. One, you have to understand that these guys are the parents of these guys, and that these guys, which are called the Hyksos, so that and if I say this wrong and somebody catches me online, you can just let me know later. But this is the Hittites. Hittites are foreign rulers inside of the kingdom. So if they're present, that means that the original rulers of Egypt are not in power. There was a diversity of people inside of Kemet, but the originators of Kemet are easily identified. They're right there. That's the Nubian. You see, if you know anything about history, you know that African civilization starts in the south. It doesn't start in the north where Egypt is.
Right.
As a matter of fact, the Nile flows from the bottom of the continent back upward.
Exactly.
So it would never be the case that at the very top is where all of the stuff is. Not even going to be where the richest part is, even though that's where the Nile overflows and the delta and all that good stuff where all the fertilization is. That's not the same metaphor. This is the secondary conversation, or the second part of the series. It's a really good series. He really explores the question. He doesn't punk out. He's not an intellectual coward. He gave you what he thought was, what his perspective was on it. And this is the final piece of it. Shout out to Regina Preston and the West Side Matters campaign. Can't wait to see that move forward. That's awesome. It's just great to see someone taking a hold of that the way that she has.
Right.
This is another advertisement for a black organization. You know it. It is New Black Power Movement. Get with it if you don't know.
Yes.
Young Royalty Program has actually been held inside of this space before here at the Minority Health Coalition. And it's just a place where we can help to build leadership and community knowledge. You know, it's where we can be black at. You need any information about it, it's over here. Another depiction. This is, again, it's not all about alliteration. Again, this is the practical rendition. This is the practical journal.
Right.
And so what we're trying to do is we're trying to conjure something inside of your spirit. We want you to feel a certain type of way. We want you to see this man, we want you to see this woman, we want you to see them next to each other on purpose. You figure out how that relationship spells it out inside of your own mind. Metaphors are your own. You need to take them and do with them what you will. This conversation is the Stockholm Syndrome. This is the piece de la resistance, right?
Okay.
This is it right here for me. This is how I did my best work on trying to explain what's going on with the oppression, with the internalization of the oppression, what the dynamic looks like, showing you that there is, not just Black African study on the situation, but that the FBI has even taken a look at this situation and said, this Stockholm Syndrome is a real thing.
This is real.
And so I take you through what happened inside of the Stockholm the Norrmalmstorg robbery that happened in Stockholm, Sweden, and just kind of let you know the narrative of how all of this happened from what I was able to pick up.
Okay.
And then I tie that into our relationship with Europeans here in America, tie that into our relationship with the cultures, and get more specific and talk about sagging, and then get even more specific about what the aversion or the dislike of sagging comes from.
Okay.
It is a very, very rich piece, probably 3,000 words. I'm just going to show you. It just don't quit. Like, it goes on and on.
Okay.
And so, yeah. Dr. King, always there to give you a good, solid reminder.
Said 347-7552 on decliner answer.
Decline? Is it still recording that?
It can keep on. Hold on.
Did it keep going? Cool. All right. 8 steps, practical. 8 steps to starting your business. Rodney Smith put it together for you. Didn't waste very much time. Bam, bam, wham, bam. Thank you, man. Make sure you guys get out, support, give some joy.
Okay.
One thing about this lady's name is Nikki Talton. Awesome lady, and she's the type of person that when you come into her store, she wants you satisfied before you leave. And she's going to help you to locate that gift. You're going to walk out of the door with a gift bag, making sure that, whatever it is that you purchase is ready to be delivered.
Okay.
Outstanding. Black-hearted authorship is just it's an agreement that we have as authors of in the Anchor and in my authors. We will make sure that we are serving our community. It's kind of our oath. Another one of those ideogram, pictogram type of things, and just let you know where we're at and what we think about.
Okay.
This is the Plus We Drink, an article that is centered around looking at. Oh, hey, look at that advertisement. That's
right.
exactly how advertisement is supposed to do too. Just show up right in the middle of your whole conversation.
Right.
All right. This is image from our show that we do on public access television called the Anchor Evening Gallery. You can YouTube it right now, the Anchor Evening Gallery, and get a look at what we've been talking about. That's Joe Shabazz, Uncle Joe to those who are part of the movement.
Okay.
Again, back to that conversation about milk and its contents and looking at, for the record, you're not a cow baby.
Right.
Right?
Just in case you didn't know.
You're a mammal, which means that your mama makes milk for you. See, a mammary gland is basically a breast, and a mammary gland is assigned to the mammal that needs that nourishment. That's
Right.
the reason why you have mammary glands. So if you're sucking on the bottom of a cow baby and you're not a cow baby, you're probably going to run into some issues. And
Yeah.
then you deal with modern society and you realize that this is a profit-driven operation, and then things go haywire. because now you're dealing with, you know, mass production and the things that come with mass production of herding a bajillion cows together in the same space, leaving them right there. They gotta defecate, they gotta urinate, they gotta do their business.
Right.
And their udders and the places that their mammary glands are located or not located or situated the same way that a human mother is. A mother stands upright, her breasts sit upright, away from the dangers that are beneath the bacteria, the
Exactly.
contaminants, whereas a cow stands on all fours, their udders are beneath them because their calf has to sit underneath them. So that's incredibly dangerous to a mass production situation, to have whatever it is that you're manufacturing that close to the ground, that is that contaminated with all of the waste things that your body is trying to, that
For
the
that long.
cow's body is trying to get rid of for that long, for ages on end. Metastasis is the actual title for when an udder is inflamed with bacteria.
Right.
But it gets deeper, and the key thing that you want to walk away with is that's important. That right there is important.
Absolutely.
Breastfeeding is key. That's how you eliminate a health risk and also get health benefits simultaneously.
Absolutely.
And I got my homegirl who's a doula with me, so if she says it's true, it's true.
It's true.
It's true. and you know, speaking of that, and it's kind of the reason why we came over, is Harambe, which is getting youths involved in healthcare. This is how we start to establish a black economy. You can talk Black Wall Street, you can talk whatever you want, but until you get to the pragmatic steps, it's really just a dream that ain't got no legs underneath it.
Right.
But this is the legs underneath the dream of how we use what we are already facing in order to rebuild our community. Just some basic business model steps and some simple resource opportunities that you can use to create a business and create a community at the same time.
Okay.
Harambe is a Swahili word which means coming together. How do we come together to create self-improvement? It's not just coming together, it's coming together
For
to
a
improve.
purpose.
Yeah. Harambe. People say it all the time. It means something for real. And then this is me and the editor of the Anchor kind of getting into a little spat, just like two old men, Mike.
Nice.
If anybody knows me and Michael, they know that we argue all the time.
I love it.
And so we're talking about language here. We're talking about linguistics, and it may be a little abstract, but because of the way that it's presented, you will love it. It's a story. It's not, some plain text. Mike did a great job of creating an alliteration that turned into a narrative of what we were already having in the way of a discussion. He made it robust. I loved it. And there are some simple arguments in here that everybody should take with them and be like, okay, that's the way that you view that, and arm yourself. Don't, just because a position may have been defeated in here doesn't mean that you don't have thoughts that might reaffirm that or
Right.
stir up the holes inside of that conversation. This is how you start to build an intellectual conversation on your own, on the tip of your own tongue.
Right.
We might be out the door though. Let's see. Oh no, back. And this is for, again, like I said, pragmatic. Maybe you put the book down. Maybe your kid is keep touching your book while you're reading it. Give up the book then. This is Blue Casey's My Black History coloring book. So we've got imagery in here that should be in the minds of your children. Doesn't necessarily mean that you need to know who Fred Hampton is. Just means that your child should at least be able to identify him. Doesn't mean that your kid needs to know who Ashada Shakur is, but your kid should be able to identify it. Doesn't mean your kid needs to know who Maya Angelou is, but needs to be able to identify it. Especially many times you've seen her in a Tyler Perry movie, you didn't even know who she was.
Right.
Stokely Carmichael. Okay. Tell your kids who Stokely Carmichael is. That's
Yeah.
Mr. Black Power. Just make
Please.
sure. Yeah. And him. And these two, too. Okay? Malcolm and Muhammad, they should both be identified.
Yes.
That's just important. Civil rights era, just, giving your kids a view
Giving
of
that
what the
background.
scene of what it is. And this is one of our musical patriarchs.
Yes, the Duke.
Duke Ellington. He took that big band music to a whole nother dynamic. Go and sneak in there. It's okay. You want to look? Yeah, I see you over there smiling, looking.
Looks awesome.
Does
Yeah.
it?
And if you want to get a copy or something like that, and you're lucky enough to go ahead and pick up a copy of this journal, just information on how to get more for other people. Mad respect to New Black Power Movement and all the stuff that they do in our community. Mad respect to Bull Team for all the things that they do in our community. Just want to try to tie that all together and make it a solid production for everybody. So,
All right.
I talked more than I expected it to, but that's the presentation of our two journals. They're $20 each if you want to get a copy. It's not just $20 for 60 pages of paper. This is $20 for probably 10 authors. $20 for the design, $20 for the printing, and I can say in good confidence, good conscience that I'm not overcharging you for this. This is
No,
what it costs.
no,
It
this
really
is
does.
quality work.
This is what
Wow.
we try to put our thoughts together and really share something with the community that's going to put us into the history. Folks always talking about how you going to make history. It's how you make history.
Exactly. Well, I love it, and I'm proud of you. I mean, this is something that's been needed for a long, long time. This is what's been needed for a long time.
So
I think it's important work.
get you a copy, get you a copy.